Good evening. My name is Alyssa Suba, and tonight I will be refuting Ignacio Alcaraz's speech on human embryonic stem cell research. Ignacio's claim was that human embryonic stem cell research, although controversial, represents the future relief or cure of a wide range of common disabilities because its cell replication is far more successful than adult stem cell research and repairs cells unlike conventional drug therapy. His secondary claims were one, that nearly 1/3 of the population can benefit from treatments and therapies that originate from stem cell research. 2, embryonic stem cells can be replicated into any of the 220 different cells in the body. And 3, human embryo stem cell research can potentially eliminate the need for organ transplants. My refutation to these claims are that, according to his speech and other research, is that human embryonic stem cell research is not conclusive to whether it is the future relief or cure of a wide range of common disabilities. According to his first claim, nearly 1/3 of the population can benefit from treatments and therapies that originate from stem cell research. This statement is not very clear. First of all, which population is this? Is this the population of the world or the population of a certain country? There's also no source that this claim comes from, so this claim is very unclear and not helpful to the original claim that was made. My argument to the second claim, which is that embryonic stem cells can be replicated into any of the 220 different cells in the body, is that according to nyln.org, human embryonic stem cell treatments may not work. According to this website, before cells are used in any therapy, they will thus be made to go through a huge number of divisions in cell culture procedures that may cause an accumulation of faults, which, if not monitored, will be transferred to the patients. This is basically saying that sometimes, even though embryonic stem cells can be replicated into the different cells of the body, it may not work well with the body when it is injected into it. For example, according to lifenews.com, Stanford researchers published results that verify the fact that human embryonic stem cells are rapidly rejected by the immune system, considered foreign enemies when injected into the body. This means that this shows that embryonic stem cells are not don't always work all the time, and aren't exactly always successful. And finally, my refutation to his third claim, which is that human embryo stem cell research can potentially eliminate the need for organ transplant, is that it's not much of a claim because it says that it can potentially eliminate it. It shows that there is either not enough research on this, or that there are still other things battling it, which all of these refutations that I made overall shows that human embryonic stem cell research does not exactly represent the future relief or cure of the wide range of common disabilities that we have today.
Okay, a good setup of the organization, nice outline of the previewing. On the first point, you challenged the evidence, the 1/3 of the population could benefit. I think the one challenge, what population you're talking about, is probably, that's a press, it's a minor press. I don't think it's a critical issue. I think the better argument is that the advocate didn't provide any evidence or sourcing for this information. So as far as we know, it's an assertion on this particular point. And I think there are some other contrasting arguments that you could be making as well. For example, would those treatments be more effective for that 1/3 than whatever existing treatments currently apply to those cases? We don't know. We don't know if it's going to be cheaper, safer, more effective. At this point, the evidence that's been provided, I think you've got the right argument here, is unclear and uncertain, and so making an inference here is problematic. On the second point, I did think that you had good contradictory complications that you're talking about. You mentioned, for instance, difficulties with the cell divisions and potentially creating immune problems there. Plus, you had examples of a study where they did use embryonic stem cells and it created rejection by the immune system. So it's not automatically going to work. The notion that there is potential here, I think, is a interesting one, but the argument is, well, what cures have we got? Look, we've been researching this stuff for 16, 17 years, and what's happened so far? I think that's a reasonable question to ask. What diseases have we cured, or what applications have we been able to make in the time period that we have been doing this sort of research? What advances have been provided? There haven't been any that have been documented by the advocate in this particular point. This might be a good place for a little bit of a counter argument suggesting that there are other treatments. For example, that adult stem cell research has effectively treated a number of diseases. There's good information that says that, and that maybe we're being diverted by the promise of these pluripotent cells that are going to turn into 220 different kinds of cells. Well, we've got to spend all of our time working on that instead of working on the ones that we know work already. That seems to be maybe a potential place that there could be a little bit of controversy on that point. And then we're back to the argument about potential on that third point. I think you've got a legitimate argument here to say, okay, so what organs have we produced through these stem cells? What body parts are currently able to be replaced without a transplant from or a donation of another organ? This is an interesting theory. There's maybe promising research on this, but the idea that this is practical has not been demonstrated, and I think this is another place where you could say we're pumping a lot of money into doing research on this, but so far the results are mixed at best, and we know that there are potential complications. So it's nice to hold out the hope of all of this bright, shiny future, but at the moment it hasn't been demonstrated, and I think that's a legitimate criticism to be made there. All right, thank you.